Hi guys, Paul here again. Okay, so I'm at a point where the resin beads in my softener need to be replaced. I can just tell the water's not quite the same. And you'll know from your well water, if you've got a softener, you'll know when the water's just not quite the way it should be, and I'm to that point now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn the water valves off and take this thing apart and remove the tanks, and then we'll take it from there. So stay tuned. Okay, so I disconnected the water softener and I tried to unscrew the head and it wouldn't budge. So what I did was I just took a ratchet strap, and I've got a pole in my basement here. Maybe you've got one of those, or if there's some other kind of stationary object that you can strap this to, that will hold it, and that will allow you to get this head off. So give that a try. Okay, so now that we got the head off, what I have found works really good is, because you're dealing with a lot of weight, I found it easier just to actually siphon. I've got a siphoner here. Got it for a couple bucks at the store, auto parts store, and I found it just makes it easier just to go ahead and siphon that water out first instead of dumping it. Because if you dump it, then a lot of the resin is going to dump out with it, and I'm trying to it just makes it easier to separate the water from the resin, because then once the water is out, I'll show you how to dump the resin, and it's going to be lighter that way, and it'll just be easier on you. So hang on, we'll go to the next step once we get this water out. Okay, so now that we've got our water out, take 2 garbage bags and put them over the top of the tank. And you got to use 2, everybody, because this resin is heavy. If you use just one, it's going to break your bag. So get that pulled over the top real good, and then go ahead and just slowly dump it into a barrel. It'll really help if you got a barrel too. And then just do your best to keep the bags up, and then just start shaking it, and that stuff will just start coming out. So just keep doing that till you get it all out. Okay? And then once you get all this out, boy, that stuff just pouring out of there. Once you get all this stuff out, then all you got to do is it'd probably be easier if you go out, take it outside, and just take a garden hose and just rinse the inside out real good until you get nothing but clear water coming out of it. Once you got clear water coming out of it, then you're all set to go to the next stage of adding the resin. Okay? Just take your time though. You get it. The other thing that'll really help too, guys, is just when you got to stand it up, just start hitting the sides real good. And that'll really make everything fall out. Okay, so now that we got our tank cleaned out, just make sure you take your distributor tube and you clean that real good, you know, with a paper towel. I actually rinsed it real good with the hose. Here was a screen on the end. Just rinse that real good. And the end of the tube here is going to have a hole in it. It's just a piece of pipe. Just rinse water down through there also, and then dump it out. The idea is when you look down this tube, you know, you want it to be clear. And what you need to do then is, after you get it all cleaned off and dried off, and I've already done it, is put duct tape on the end of your distributor tube, and then just put your distributor tube back in, and this is our special funnel, and it's worth getting this funnel. It'll really save you a big mess. I just took a table and put it next to the tank, and this way you're not stooping over constantly. And I think the main thing is just, you know, taking your time. And then this stuff, it's really kind of weird. I'd never seen this stuff before. It's kind of like, it's bigger than, the particles are bigger than sand, but it's kind of like, it feels like sand, wet sand. I measured one of the particles, it was 32 thousandths of an inch. They're perfectly round little beads. And but anyway, just start, and this is how you got to do it. You don't try to like pour it in from the bag itself. You need to just scoop it out and just start dropping it in. And now this way, there's no way that our resin is going to go down our tube, because we got our duct tape on. You don't want any resin going down that tube. And some places I read online, some places said to replace that distributor tube, but I called a place that actually does the rebuild work, and they said it's not necessary at all if it looks good. And actually the tube looked excellent, so I didn't worry about that. So just keep doing this until all of your resin is in your tank, and then we'll go on to the next step. So once you get it all in, just take some water and just rinse everything nice and clean. So get all that resin down in there. Run it over the duct tape just to get all that stuff flushed down. Okay, so I just took our garbage bag with all of our old resin in it, took it out of our tub here, and I just dropped it into our resin bag that had the new resin in it. So now we can, I'll just make it real easy to get rid of. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to just take and we're going to just pour water back into the tank. Okay. And just keep filling it up until the water comes up to the bottom of the threads. And just keep the duct tape on for right now. And then we'll go on to our next step. Okay, so now we've got our water up all the way, and now you'll be able to take this tube and you'll be able to get it centered and just twist it. You'll have no problem moving it up and down now that that water's in there. So just get it in there and center it. And the other thing I did was, I've used this stuff for years. It's called Magic Lube. Works really good. It's a Teflon lubricant. And so what I did was I put some of that on the O-ring at the bottom here. So the ring looked good, the O-ring here looked good, so I didn't replace it. So but I thought it'd be a good idea to put the Teflon lubricant on it. So then all you've got to do is, make sure you're seeing this in the camera here, all you're doing is then you're just lining up and just drop it back down onto the tube, and then just be real careful that you don't cross thread it. A lot of times it's good just turn it counterclockwise until you feel it drop, just like it did there, and then you can start screwing it back on. Okay, so do that and then we'll get to the next step. Okay, so as you can see, I just ratcheted the tank to the back to the post with the strap again, and just this allowed me, you know, to just snug this thing back on and line it up back up with the marks that I had. And we're done for now. We'll unstrap it and we'll reinstall it. Okay, so it's all back together, and now some people say all you need to do is just a backwash on the unit, but I'm just going to do a full cleaning on the tank. And of course I got two tanks, so I'm going to do a full cleaning on both tanks, and then we should be back in business. So I hope this helps somebody out there. It was really a lot easier to do than I thought it would be. This was my first time, and the main thing is just knowing how much new resin you need to add. I'd say that's the big key factor, and then just getting the valve or the head itself off. So God bless you, have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.